My son is yelling at me. He's upset. The temperature in the room is rising, and I can feel it rising in me too. My heart is pounding. My voice wants to get louder. And in that moment, I've got about 10 seconds to decide. Do I match his intensity, or do I bring the temperature in the room down? Because if I match him, we both lose. If you're an adoptive parent, you've lived that moment. So what can you do? In this episode, I'm going to give you a simple, practical plan you can use in real time when emotions rise in your home. And I'm not just giving you a plan. I'm going to show you what this looks like in a real, high-pressure moment. A moment where Jesus was put on the spot, where he was being challenged, pushed to respond. And instead of reacting, he paused. And that pause exposed everything. This is your personal peace plan. And it starts with one decision based on a time-tested principle. The power is in the pause. When your adoptive home is filled with chaos, fear, and hard behaviors, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and alone. Hi, neighbor. I'm Tim Maudlin, an adoptive dad who's been in the trenches. This is Adoption Struggles and Support, a podcast for adoptive parents facing chaos, fear, and hard behaviors who want a safer, more peaceful home. Here you'll find practical biblical guidance and real-life anchors you can hold on to in the hardest moments. Anchors of hope and healing are on the way. Before we get into today's episode, I want to invite you into a private community I created just for adoptive parents. If you've ever sat in the quiet after a hard day with your adopted child and wondered, am I the only one going through this? You're not. I've been there too. That's why I created this community. It's a place where adoptive parents encourage each other, pray for one another, and share wisdom from the journey. Inside the group, I also post weekly encouragement and resources that I don't share on the podcast, practical tools to help you navigate the real challenges of adoptive parenting. If you're in a difficult season with your adopted child, you don't have to walk it alone. You can join us right now at timsuggest.com/community. That's timsuggest.com/community. You'll also find the link in the show notes. Come join us, and let's walk this road together, one step, one prayer, one season at a time. Today we're going to talk about the principle, the power is in the pause. I want to encourage you to grab a pen and paper. Write the word pause down on your paper, but write it down vertically. I want to turn this word into an acronym and use this acronym to flesh out some ideas that the concept behind the word pause presents to us. This acronym is based on a tool my son Johnny learned in residential, and it's become something I use as a parent to turn the temperature down when things are getting heated. Next to the letter P, write the word pause. Pause to stop the reaction. It's natural to react, but don't match the moment, because most of the damage happens in the first few seconds. Unfortunately, this is something I had to learn the hard way. That's why I want to encourage you to pause, because the power is in the pause. And as you pause, next to the letter A, write the word assess. Here's where we're going to adapt the 10-10-10 rule. This is a tool my son Johnny learned in residential. Ask yourself, what happens in the next 10 seconds if I react? The next 10 minutes? The next 10 hours? Where is this going? Pause me for a moment and sit with these questions, because you don't want to lose the moment. Next to the letter U, write the word understand. It's important to check yourself first. What am I feeling right now? Why is this triggering me? Again, pause me and sit with these questions, because if you don't understand yourself, you can't lead this moment. Next to the letter S, write the word slow. Lower the intensity by using fewer words, a calmer tone, a slower response, because slow equals strong. Next to the letter E, write the word engage. Respond on purpose, not reaction, but intention. Lead the moment. Don't lose it. When emotions rise, pause. This is your personal peace plan. Be the thermostat, not the thermometer. Sounds great, but in the moment, it's hard. So let me show you what this actually looks like. There's a moment where Jesus is put on the spot. The pressure is high. Emotions are high. And instead of matching the intensity, he pauses. And that pause exposes everything. That's exactly the kind of moment Jesus steps into in John chapter 8. A woman is brought before him, caught in sin. The religious leaders surround him. They're not just asking a question, they're confronting him. They're pressing him. They're testing him. What do you say, Jesus? But Jesus doesn't answer. He doesn't rush. He doesn't react. He bends down and starts writing in the dirt. He pauses. Why? Why doesn't he respond right away? What would have happened if he did? If Jesus reacts in that moment, pressure wins, emotions lead, the situation escalates. But instead, Jesus pauses. And in that pause, tensions begin to shift. Control returns. Clarity rises. Jesus didn't just control his words, he controlled his timing. And the pause changed everything. Next, I'd like to read this story to you from the book of John chapter 8 and make some observations about how Jesus used the power of the pause. John chapter 8, beginning in verse 2. Now early in the morning he came again into the temple, and all the people came to him, and he sat down and taught them. Then the scribes and Pharisees brought to him a woman caught in adultery. And when they had set her in the midst, they said to him, Teacher, this woman was caught in adultery, in the very act. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned. But what do you say? This they said, testing him, that they might have something of which to accuse him. But Jesus stooped down and wrote on the ground with his finger as though he did not hear. So when they continued asking him, he raised himself up and said to them, He who is without sin among you, let him throw a stone at her first. And again he stooped down and wrote on the ground. Then those who heard it, being convicted by their conscience, went out one by one, beginning with the oldest even to the last. And Jesus was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. When Jesus had raised himself up and saw no one but the woman, he said to her, Woman, where are those accusers of yours? Has no one condemned you? She said, No one, Lord. And Jesus said to her, Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more. Jesus was the master of the moment. He's the master of the pause. Let's look at these 5 points again. Pause before you speak. Not every moment needs an immediate response. Pause to create space. Assess the moment. What's really happening here? Understand the outcome. Where will this lead? 10 seconds, 10 minutes, or 10 hours from now? Speak with intention. When Jesus finally speaks, let him who was without sin cast the first stone. He used few words, but they were full of truth and grace. And establish the environment. One by one, these accusers begin to leave, and the tension dissolves. Jesus didn't match the moment. He changed it. Let's get to your daily doable. The next time you feel triggered, pause for 3 to 5 seconds before you say anything. Even if you do nothing else, just pause. You don't have to match the moment. You can lead it. Be the thermostat, not the thermometer, because the power is in the pause. Now that you've paused, what do you actually say? In our next episode, we're going to consider that. What you say when your child is escalating. We're going to talk about how to answer calmly without making things worse. I hope you'll join us. That's all for this episode. I want to thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, this is Tim, encouraging you to do what you can now. I hope today's episode encouraged you to face the storms in your parenting journey with courage and confidence. If it did, please share this episode with one adoptive parent who might need the same encouragement today. And if you haven't already, a quick review on Apple Podcasts helps more adoptive parents find the show. Until next time, this is Tim, encouraging you to do what you can now.